Hey everyone, welcome back to Beekeeping with Natalie, or welcome to if you are new. Today we are back in the bees. We've been working bees a lot this week, and we are going to be moving this, it's like I think 11 frame. We're going to move it into a double deep because this box, like I said, it's I think 11 frame, and we only have I think 3 of those, and they're all being used, like one's over there. So they're all being used, and so we can't put another box on top. But they need another box to a deep, and then we'll put a new one on top, just so that they have more room. This time last year we had swarms. We had some swarm cells, but we're not ready to be dealing with that yet because we should really just be starting all of that in a couple weeks. So I don't think that they have swarm cells, but we'll kind of check the frames. But we checked them a couple days ago, and they didn't, but they can build swarm cells so fast, so hopefully they haven't started yet. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and start moving it over here. What we were going to originally do was just take some brood out and give it to some other hives that needed it, but I figured it would just be easier to go ahead and move them over now because we would probably have to do it eventually. And so we're just going to do that now. I think what we're going to do is kind of just use these boxes for overwintering because they seem to do really well in them, and then maybe just move them over. But let's go ahead and get started and just open them up. So they have a feeder shim, and there is so many bees in here. I'm going to lift it up slowly so you can kind of just see all the bees that'll kind of just be dropping off of the lid here because there's so many bees. So I'm not going to smoke them quite yet. So we'll just lift this up. There's a Ziploc in here. So that's why it has that feeder shim. So you can see those bees just hanging there. And so basically, it's always great to have a bunch of bees like this. And feeder shims are great for feeding, but they can kind of cause a problem when they build comb. So yeah, you can see that here. I'm going to, I'm going to set this aside. My only worry is that the queen could be on here. Okay, so it looks like they're all heading off of here. Wow, look at that. They're all just sliding off. I guess we're just going to kind of let them move off. Look, they're just going right down into those frames. So we'll just kind of let them do that for a second or two. I was going to go ahead and just maybe move them over into this box, but I guess we'll just kind of let them do this. We have a video from a while ago of us, called it I think the Bee March, and once the queen had moved into the box, they had all just started marching in there really fast. It was kind of the case with this just a second ago, but now they're all under here. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to go ahead and I guess just shake them into here maybe, because I'm going to have to shake them into here anyways later. Just the thing is, they're probably going to want to go back to that box, but we'll go ahead and just shake them. Give a quick glimpse of the queen. Hopefully she wasn't on there. So now they're all in this box, if you want to come over here and see that. Alright, and then we're going to just quickly start moving this over. I'm going to take this feeder shim off and the Ziploc. We're going to smoke them pretty good because it has been raining forever, it feels like. I like the rain, but I don't like the in-between when it's just cloudy. But the sun was just here a minute ago. Looks like it might be coming out a little bit. Every now and then there'll be a glimpse of the sun. But it's really, really dark over there, so I think it's going to rain here in a few hours, so we want to do this a little bit quicker. So we put this, well actually I didn't put this on, my dad put this Ziploc on, it was 2 days ago, and that is almost completely dry. So I don't know if I'm not saying the reason I said he put it on, because I don't know if he or I don't know if he cut the slits too big and they took it too fast or not. But either way, it wasn't my fault. So, but I think that they just took that really fast, which is good. I'm not sure if that was a smart decision or not to have shook the bees in there, because now they're all over the walls, but you know, it's all right, I guess. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put all the brood in the bottom box, and then honey and pollen on the outside, and then we'll have one frame, I think, one room for a frame up top, which I'll probably just put some pollen or honey up top, whatever's in here. So we're just gonna go from one side all the way to the other, check every frame, count how many frames of brood they have, and see how they're looking. I would do a tip test on them, but unfortunately I can't lift the box, so I'm not gonna do that. It's also, they're on this, well, I don't know what you call this, but the stand that they're on right now is not very trustworthy, I guess. It's because there's just some poles, I guess. I'm not really sure what those are. I didn't make the stand, but it kind of moves when you tilt the box up, and so it's a little bit harder to do a tip test. This is just food, a little bit of honey, or it might be syrup with a tiny bit of pollen. There's not a whole lot of pollen coming in right now. A little less than there was the other day. The other day I was seeing quite a lot of pollen, but not as much anymore, so we might give them a pollen patty. They have one on here already. Doesn't seem like they're touching it too much. I'm not sure when it was put on though. So she is laying out here. Oh, wow, look at that. She's right there. Up there. So that's great, because now we can go ahead and put her in this box, and it also tells us that she wasn't on the lid. So we're going to put her in here, and then we will know that she is in the box. There we go. These kind of hives are a good problem to have. It's kind of annoying to have to deal with it, because it can be, you're not sure what to do with all of the brood, but it's a good problem to have, especially because you can give it to the colonies that need it. So here's a good frame of brood. So I'm going to say that's probably about one frame of brood here. We'll put this in the middle. Looks like they got some burr comb down at the bottom here. I don't think there's any swarm cells. It looks like it's mostly drone brood. More brood up here, so it looks like it's emerging, and then she's filling it right back up, which is good. A lot of drones in here, and they're pretty big too. But yeah, we'll be grafting here in the next couple weeks. About a week or so, because we're doing our splits in about 2 to 3 weeks. So that's 2 frames of brood so far. So it looks like she's also filling this up as it's emerging. So I'm going to say this is probably about another frame of brood. So there's 3 frames. That one was pretty full of larvae, so we're probably about 3.5 frames of brood. That's 4 frames. Our bees have been doing really good lately coming out of winter. We came out of winter a little while ago. I think we're officially out of the woods. It's going to be in the 70s. Today it's a little while ago it was in the 70s. I'm not sure if it still is or not, but it's really nice out and I think it's supposed to stay like that for a while. I don't know if it's ever going to get really cold again. Hopefully it doesn't because the bees are doing really good. I know that hive just down there has 8 frames of brood, which is great. Here's another good patch of brood. So that is, what's that, 5 frames of brood. Just gonna move this over a little bit just to keep the brood centered in the middle. The reason why we do that is because most of the time she won't go out from honey. So if you have a frame of honey right here, she won't go past it to lay there. And so we put all the brood in the middle and then all the honey on the outside just so she can lay all of those frames. And that's what we're gonna do in the top box here. We're gonna put the frame of honey that we'll have out here on the very edge, because if we put it in the middle here, she won't go past it and they'll probably never really get to it. So that's why we're doing that. I'm probably gonna have to take off this pollen patty here. I'm not seeing any swarm cells at the bottom, which is good. This is a nice frame of brood. I don't know if you can see those drones on there, but they're pretty big. Got a lot of drone brood at the bottom there. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6.5 so far. Hopefully we're getting close to, seeing a bunch of brood is always good, but I'm gonna have to kind of rethink my plan because I didn't think that there was gonna be, I guess, this much brood. But let's smoke this and then take the pollen patty off. Looks like they're kind of on it a little bit. Doesn't look like they're really taking it though. Maybe a little bit. I don't really know when this was put on, so I think not that long ago. So if it was just a couple days ago, then they are doing pretty good with it. Just set this over here. More brood. Looks like she's maybe not filling this one as much. Well, yeah, take that back. So that's 7 frames. Okay, so we'll probably be able to fit, I guess that's 2 frames. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So I think we can fit 2 more frames of brood, or just 2 more frames. I don't know what these 3 ones will look like, but 2 more frames, and then I'm not sure how many frames I can fit over here because I have 4. I don't know if I can fit 2 in here or not. It looks like I can, but I might go ahead and just take 1 out because I have 4 frames left. Oops. Smoker's going pretty good. Looks like we're getting towards pretty much the honey now. This one is not as full. I don't really see any capped brood on here. Oh yeah, there's just a tiny bit down here at the bottom. Can't tell if I don't see eggs or really anything out here. Maybe a little bit. So we'll go ahead and put this out here on the end. Well, let's see. Yeah, we'll put this out on the end. Keep the side that has just that tiny little brood facing this way. They're building comb over here already. If you can come over here, that was pretty quick. We had a hive over that way that was, I guess a frame didn't get put in there. I didn't do it, of course, but basically they just made their own frame, and it was full of larvae and everything, which is good because it shows that you have a strong colony, but it's always not very fun to take care of. Could be pretty risky too, just because the queen can be on there, especially when there's eggs in there, so you got to be careful about that. That's one thing that not sure if I've talked about it on the double nukes that we have. I've made a lot of videos on those before, but you can only fit a certain amount of frames. I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4, but you can't fit another one in there, and so they typically build a lot of comb there. But it's always good because that just shows that they're a strong colony. But yeah, so let's go ahead and just take this one out, see what it looks like, and then we'll put the 2 last frames up top. This one's really heavy. So that one's full. So we're going to put this out on the end. We've got some more pollen I'm seeing. Got that bright red pollen. So we're really starting to kick up the season, which is super exciting. And can't wait for this year's honey season. Last year was pretty bad. I think it was pretty much the worst one we've had so far, which sucks, but you'll always have those years. And there's always next year. So excited to see how this year goes, and hopefully we'll have a good honey flow, and the bees will do good. So far it looks pretty promising, but probably just jinxed myself. So let's go ahead and put the rest in this box over here. So I'm going to put the honey out on the end. We'll take this piece of pollen patty off here. I'm probably going to give that pollen patty back to them because I think it was just put on a little while ago and they seem to be taking it, so we'll go ahead and put that back on later. But they look great. How many frames of brood did I say? I just lost track. 8? Did I say 8? Wow, okay, 8 frames of brood. There's a lot of pollen on these grows over here. Starting to get more of that yellowish. See that one? There's more over here. A little bit more of an orange one. And then red over here. It's always great to see all the different colors, especially when there's a really strong pollen flow and you can just sit at the entrance of the hive and just see all the pollen coming in. All the different colors and everything, that's always great. Let's see, I don't know if I can fit another frame or not in here. I think I probably can. I'll just take another frame out and then let's just do that, just be safe, because I'm not sure if I want to go through the hassle of trying to put a frame in there. So we're just going to take this one out, and then I thought there was only 3 frames left, but then I looked down and saw that one, so there was 4. But let's go ahead and just put this one in here. This one's not as full, but it's a little full, so we'll put this out here on the end. If you have a frame of brood, you can always bring it up top if you want. We're not going to do that. The frames in here, though, are just I've got some half drawn-ish. This one looks like it was scraped on the spots that were bad. We do this every now and then. If there's some spots that have whatever on it, sometimes a little bit of mold, we can just scrape it off, and they typically seem to build it back. Not all the time though, but we'll see how that goes. We do a lot of experimenting with that kind of stuff and see what they do. And then this one's like half drawn. There's a couple of fully drawn ones in there. So that's just what's in here. We'll go ahead and just slide this on over. And then we need to get rid of this box. Probably should have done that first, but that's all right. A lot of pollen I'm seeing as they're coming in here. I really wasn't seeing a whole lot earlier, but seems like there's more. Kind of see them running around there, so they're definitely a little lost because they walk into the hive and there's no frames or anything. So I'm going to take this off. Shake as many bees as I can over here. All right, I'm not the best at shaking bees, but you know, I try. You can always shake this at the front of the hive if you want to. And then we'll go ahead and scoot them over just a little bit. Like that, adds some smoke. See all the bees here coming out on the edge too. Looks like my smoke is pretty hot right now, so we'll go ahead and just pack this down a little bit. Only some people will remember, if you are somebody who watches my channel all the time. A little while ago I ran over my smoker, and the lid doesn't go on super easily anymore, but it's got all the stickers and everything. I just can't get a new one. All right, we'll go ahead and put this box on top. So, but in the end, the real reason we did that is so they have more room and they won't have as much as a tendency to swarm anymore because they have more room. They haven't swarmed yet and don't have swarm cells from what I saw, so they should be good. And we'll split them here in a couple weeks. Since they have 8 frames of brood, we'll be able to split them probably about 3 or 2 times. So we'll have a couple videos coming up soon on splitting. I talked about it in my last video. I don't really like splitting, but I'm actually getting a little bit more excited this year for it, just because we're getting a lot more organized this year with it, and I think it'll be better. So we'll have some videos on that, on how we do our splitting. And so yeah, I am just now realizing I didn't grab a lid, so we're gonna go over and grab a lid from the bee shed, and then we'll put it on, and that's pretty much what we're doing. So we're just gonna do that for today, and hopefully we don't get too much rain. But the bees are looking really great, so I'll also probably go ahead and put their pollen patty on. And you know what, I was just about to end the video, but let's go ahead and put some syrup on too. Just a little bit of syrup, not much. That's really, well, we'll just do a little bit more. That's pretty much it. And we're not worried about them drowning too much in this one because they're super strong. And they've got some wire in here that they should be able to climb on a little bit. We don't do the ladders for these feeder frames because I don't really like them. It makes it a little more difficult to do stuff, including seeing how much syrup is in there, how much you poured. And I feel like it doesn't really help them a whole lot when it comes to the drowning situation, but they seem pretty good. We just don't like to do feeder frames in more of our nukes because they can't handle it as well. So we're gonna change up that this year, do some more bucket feeding. We might try jar feeding. I don't know, we'll see how that goes. Did a little bit of that last year with the bee buffet feeder. If you want to check out that video, I'll leave it right here. And anyways, that's it. We'll go ahead and put the pollen patty on, put the lid on, and then we'll be done. Thanks for watching. Follow along for more bee adventures and be here next time on Beekeeping with Natalie.